श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्ग्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदाहृति श्रीवासरंगपरकालमुनित्रयाप्तलक्ष्मात्मरक्षणैतुद्योगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। So last week we saw briefly about the glory of Vishnu Sahasranamam, the greatness of Vishnu Sahasranamam. Vishnu Sahasranamam is so powerful that it was even prescribed by the then doctors, the medical practitioners, and it is mentioned in their works called Saraka Samhitai, and by the Vaidyas, they had prescribed recite Vishnu Sahasranamam to get rid of the papams. Even the names itself will get us rid of the suffering. Veda Vyasa says Achyuta Ananta Govinda Nama Ucharana Beshaja. Achyuta, if you say Achyuta Ananta Govinda, if you utter these names, Beshajat, they are the medicine. They are the medicine. And Bishak, Beshajam Bishak, there is a Sahasranamam, there is one name. Bishak means doctor, Beshajam is medicine. He is the medicine and he is the doctor. He himself is the doctor and he himself is the medicine. His name is the medicine. Achyuta Ananta Govinda Namocharane Beshajat. Nashyanti Sakala Roga Satyam Satyam Vadamyaham. Nashyanti. All Sakala Roga, all the Roga, all diseases will get crushed. Satyam Satyam Vadamyaham. It is truth and nothing but truth. Veda Vyasa mentions. And so we will enjoy that Vishnu Sahasranamam. This Vishnu Sahasranamam is commented by very many acharyas. We saw last time Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padal. He had written an extensive commentary. Then there is one Sri Parasara Bhattar, who was the disciple in the Ramanuja Sampradaya. He was a precocious son of Swami Kurattalwan, the Kuresha, who was the disciple of Ramanuja. This Parasara Bhattar was supposed to be the adopted child of Lord Sri Ranganatha and Ranganayaki. It seems he was on talking terms with Lord Goddess Ranganayaki. The child Parasara Bhattar used to be kept in Ranganayaki Sannidhi most of the time. So he had written a commentary on Vishnu Sahasranamam called Bhagavad Guna Darpana, the mirror that reflects the Kalyana Gunas. He wrote about the Vishnu Sahasranamam. So this Vishnu Sahasranamam, there are 6 salient features of Vishnu Sahasranamam. 6 salient features is nothing but it is found in Mahabharata, this Vishnu Sahasranamam. Because Mahabharatam is supposed to be the 5th Veda. How many Vedas are there? 4 Vedas. Rig, Yajur, Shama, Atharvana. 4 Vedas. There is no 5th Veda, but Mahabharatam can be termed, can be called as the 5th Veda because it contains everything that one can come across in life. It talks about everything. It has got more than 100,000 slokas. It's the longest and biggest epic in the world. And this, it is found in Mahabharata. And this Sahasranamam, which we will see later, is the conversation between Bhishma and Yudhishthira, Dharman, the first of the Pancha Pandavas. Between Bhishma and Yudhishthira, this is the conversation. In Mahabharatam, there are 5 conversations. One is between Dhritarashtra and Sanat Kumara, called Sanat Sujatiyam. There is one between Dhritarashtra who is the father of all Kauravas, Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra and Vidura. Vidura is his younger brother. We know, not Vidura, Vidura, the third Da. Because when you say the fourth Da, Vidura, it means widower in Sanskrit. It's Vidura. Between Dhritarashtra and Vidura, second conversation. Then there is a conversation between Yudhishthira and Yaksha called the Yaksha Prashna. The Vidura is the Vidura Niti. Now Yaksha Prashnam is the question asked by Yaksha to Yudhishthira, and the questions are more important, more interesting, and that's called Yaksha Prashna. Then of course the fourth popular, most useful, wonderful conversation is between Partha, the Arjuna, and the Sarathi, Krishna. That's Bhagavad Gita, the fourth conversation. The fifth conversation is this one, Vishnu Sahasranamam, between Bhishma Pitamaha, the grandfather Bhishma, and the Yudhishthira, the first of the Pancha Pandava. So this conversation is the most brilliant conversation because it was witnessed by Lord Krishna himself. So the salient features of this Vishnu Sahasranama, Swami writes in the commentary that Mahabharata Saratvat Rishibi Parigatanaha Vedacharya Samaharat Bhishma Utkrishta Matatvataha Parigrahati Shayato Gitaschaikartya Shwanaha Gitaschaikartya Tashwanaha Sahasranamadhyaya Upadeya Tamo Mataha. Here, this chapter of Sahasranama, which is consisting of 1,000 names on Lord Vishnu, is the Mahabharata Saratvat, Saram of Mahabharata, the essence of Mahabharata. It is the essence of Mahabharata because Mahabharata itself is a gold mine of auspicious, virtuous, good things, and this is the essence of Mahabharata. And Rishibi Pariganataha, it has been sung, it has been recited, it has been contemplated, uttered by the great rishis, great sages. Rishibi Parigitanam, it comes in the preface, the invocatory slokams, because it has been sung by several sages in many places. Sage Narada, Sage Vasishta, Sage Sanat Kumara, they all have sung. And what Vedavyasa did is to compile, to pick up those words. And what Bhishma did is to utter those names, which is already uttered, narrated, and strung together by these sages. So that's the Rishibi Pariganataha. They have sung. The great sages have sung these names. And Vedacharya Samaharat. Vedacharya. Who is the Vedacharya? Vyasam Vishnu. Here, Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. Veda Vyasa. Veda Vyasa was one of the greatest sages of our Sanatana Dharma. Veda Vyasa, it has been strung together by Veda Vyasa, by the great preceptor of the Vedas. And this Veda Vyasa is none other than the son of sage Parashara. Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram Shakte Pautram Akalmasham Parasharat Majam Vande Shuka Tatam Taponidhim. What a great parampara, what a great lineage. Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram, sage Vasishta, who was the Acharya for Lord Sri Ramachandra Murti, for the entire Gishwaku Kulam. He was the sage, Vasishta. He was the Acharya. And this Vasishta, his son name was Shakti. And his Shakti's son's name was Parashara. This sage Parashara is the one who composed, who narrated to sage Maitreya the Vishnu Purana. So Vasishta, Shakti, Parashara, And Parashara's son is Vyasa. And Vyasa's son is Shuka, sage Shukar. And sage Shukar is the one who narrated to Parikshit Maharaja the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So, sage Vasishta, Shakti, Parashara, the Vishnu Puranam, Vedavyasa, the one who wrote the Mahabharatam, who composed Mahabharatam, who compiled the Vedas, and he is the one who wrote the Brahma Sutram. As I was telling last week, the one-liners of the Vedanta Sutrams, 545 Sutrams. He is the one who wrote. He is the one who strung together these namas which were uttered by Bhishma to Yudhishthira. He is the one which got revealed to him, and he compiled, like he compiled the Puranas, like he compiled the Vedas. So it was strung together by Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa was so revered. Even his own father Parasara was narrating to Maitreya about the greatness, the Vaibhavam of his son, illustrious son Vyasa. Actually, in those days, the father is not supposed to talk, especially to others, about the greatness of his son. He is not supposed to, because it will get into his head and it will become arrogant. So, that was not the practice. However, here is an exception, because sage Parasara himself was overwhelmed, was overjoyed with the intellect of sage Vedavyasa. And then, of course, it was expounded and it was uttered, narrated by Bhishma. Bhishma Utkrishta Matatvataha. You know about the greatness and the glory of Bhishma Pitamaha. Bhishma was the greatest devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. Jnanam, Vairagyam, Bhakti, all that was resplendent, was shining in Bhishma Pitamaha. In fact, Bhishma Pitamaha was so shining that Lord Sri Krishna had to even forego his own pledge that he would not touch the weapon. He had promised Duryodhana that he would not touch the weapon. He had promised. When Duryodhana said, okay, you can be the charioteer for Arjuna, but you should not take the weapon. Is that clear? Is that understood? Krishna just gave a wonderful, I would not touch the weapon. He did say. However, when Arjuna was having an upper hand, and on that evening, when Duryodhana was talking to Bhishma back in the pavilion, and Bhishma was told by Duryodhana that you are being favorable, partial to Arjuna. You are not showing your true self. You are a great warrior. Why are you not attacking Arjuna? So Bhishma was aggravated by those statements. He was hurt. So he said, tomorrow I will ensure that I will fight so ferociously that even I will let Krishna take the weapon, Ayudham. I would fight so ferociously. The next day, because he is a devotee of Krishna, Krishna had to forego his vratam, his pledge, his vow, and let his devotee win. So when Bhishma kept on hurting Arjuna, Krishna jumped from the chariot. He picked up the wheel of the chariot, and then he came with his chakram and ran towards Bhishma, rushed towards Bhishma. So Bhishma dropped all the weapons, his bow, his arrows, his sword. He folded his hands and he said Namaskaram, because he was so mesmerized by the beauty of Krishna rushing towards him with the chakrayudam. Of course, then Arjuna stopped him from creating any more havoc. So Bhishma was so great. He was such a wonderful devotee of Krishna. So it was expounded by Bhishma as his excellent creed of faith is Mahavishwasam, is unflinching, unconditional faith on Krishna. And then Parigrahati Shayato Gitaschai Katyataschanaha. Here it has been accepted by all persons with respect as excellent. Parigrahati. It was accepted by not only by the Shastras, not only by the Rishis, not only by Vedavyasa, not only by Bhishma, also by the medical practitioners, also by the Mahans, as I mentioned, also by the Acharyas. Anywhere, everywhere, people used to say, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam. One of the greatest Acharyas, and when he was almost in his final day, final moment of his life, he knew that his end was coming. He asked his Shishyas to recite Vishnu Sahasranamam while he was lying down with his eyes closed. He said, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam while I am passing away. They narrated once, recited once. They recited twice. They stopped. He opened his eyes and he signaled again. They recited third time. And they stopped again. They were waiting for him to say, show. He didn't. He had already passed away. So, such was the adoration, admiration they have, respect they have for Vishnu Sahasranamam. Adiyan myself had one very interesting incident. Couple of minutes I will take. When I was in Saudi Arabia back in the early 90s, and I was there for 4 or 5 years. I was working for a local Italian firm who was established in Saudi Arabia. And there, being an Islamic country, they used to have Thursday, Friday as the weekend. So Wednesday afternoon, 4 of my friends, my colleagues, they wanted to get dropped on the way in the city so that they can go for shopping because the weekend was approaching. So, because my family was staying, so I was driving and these 4 were coming with me in the car. So I was driving towards my home on the way to drop them somewhere near the shopping market. So on the way, there was a traffic light, and when you are at the traffic light, if the traffic light becomes yellow, you can pass. But if you are 50 meters ahead of the traffic light or before the traffic light, you have time to stop. So you should stop, because by the time you reach the light, it will be red. So when I was at the traffic light, it was yellow, so I crossed. So far so good. But after 100 meters, I saw police car flashing. So I had to stop. The policemen, who were Arabs, they said, Yalla, yalla, get out. So I got out. He asked me for the license. He asked me for the office ID. So I gave. He said, follow me. So he was going in the front, so I followed along with my colleagues. He took me to the police station. He asked me to sign something in Arabic. It was there. So I just signed, because he was not understanding English. So then he asked me to follow him. I followed him. He asked the others to stop there, so I followed him. He went into one room, so I went inside. And he stepped out and locked it, because it was a prison. That a couple of weeks before, there was a rule, it seems, that whoever cuts the traffic light would be imprisoned for 3 days, regardless of who it is, regardless of the color. Even if he's a Caucasian, white, or Islam or Hindu or a Christian, that rule follows. Because they were seeing that many Arabs were driving huge posh cars and cutting signals left and right and causing accidents. So they had implemented this rule a couple of weeks before. So they had seen my office identity. They called my sponsor, who was an Arabic person, local provincial prince. So he came, he saw me with from the door a small window, and he said, Kanan, you stuck here for 3 days, because last week one British, a white guy who is working in our office, he also got imprisoned for 3 days. So Kanan, finish 3 days here. They give you bread, be here. Saturday morning I take you. So I just blamed my fate, and he went. These four poor guys, the colleagues, there was no mobile, nothing, so they took a cab, went to my home. Just as a courtesy, they wanted to inform my wife. So they knocked the door, and when Brinda opened the door, she said, "He is not here, he has not yet come," thinking that they were waiting to see me. They all laughed. They said, "He will not come for another 2-3 days." So they dropped the bomb, and she was also shocked to hear. And they took a cab and they went. So what happened in the meanwhile? Here I saw the 8 by 8 prison with no window, nothing except the door has got a small hole. And there was a loaf of bread in the corner. In another corner there was a western commode. No fan, nothing. So that was about 7 o'clock evening. So I took a couple of sliced bread because I was very hungry. Then I sat down cross-legged, and I was challenging to Lord Vishnu. I knew Vishnu Sahasranamam by heart. So I said, "Let me recite Vishnu Sahasranamam from now on. By 9 p.m, Lord Vishnu, if you exist, you take me out. Otherwise, forget, you don't exist." So I gave kind of, today I laugh at it, a challenge, because I was so feeling bad, feeling low. So I started reciting Vishnu Sahasranamam. And 8:56, the door was knocked. The police was asking, "You Kanan?" I said, "Yes." He opened the door. "Yalla, out." So I came out. And he said, "You go." I was not knowing what is this. So I drove my car from the police station with hands shivering, came home, and Brinda was telling me that what she did not know what to do. So she went and told the gatekeeper, the watchman, who was a Malayali, and he also did not know what to do. But he said there is one Arab clerk who was living in our family camp. He's an Arab clerk. We did not know, we never used to see him. We don't know him and he doesn't know us. But this watchman knew everybody inside, the inmates. So he said, "Let's go check with him." So together with her, they went to that Arab clerk home. And in that home, that time, because it was a weekend, there was a party going on. All the men were in one hall and all the women were in the other room. They were not supposed to mingle. So all the men, when they opened the door, the men were inside, and they were all shocked to see a lady coming to talk to the men. So the host came out. He said, "What's the problem?" So she explained. Then when she was explaining, he said, that clerk said, "This is a new rule and we cannot do anything. Last week the Britisher also happened the same thing. I tried to do, nothing could be happening. So sorry." But this was being overheard by someone who was sitting inside. And he was the local DSP or DGP or sub-inspector or whoever it is. He was also one of the invitees in the party. So he stepped out. He saw her. He asked, "What's the problem?" And she said, he immediately called, and that was 8:50. And 8:56, I came out. So I had goosebumps when I came out at 8:56. That was the power of Vishnu Sahasranamam. This whenever I say, I have tears in my eyes, because as a stupid fellow, I was challenging Vishnu, and he brought me out in spite of his supremacy. For this lowliest self, he got me out. So Vishnu Sahasranamam is so powerful that it benefits all of us, and it removes our problem regardless of whatever it is, then and there. And it contains truth and lessons. It has names in conformity with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. It was witnessed by Lord Sri Krishna. it is vouched by other authoritative works. So Vishnu Sahasranama is to be taken up for study, for learning, for recitation and meditation. So with that we would conclude. So next we will start off with the invocatory verses. Adiyan. Dhanyosmi. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Das.